we'll talk about the offseason moves for the Miami Dolphins and one particular one. And I didn't talk. This isn't like a pre-recorded discussion that Justin and I had. I'm just dropping this on him right now. I think the Dolphins had a pretty good offseason, and we always knew that they were going to have this good offseason. They had the cap. Their defense is pretty good. Their offense is on the rise, and they just acquired one of the most electric wide receivers in the game in Tyreek Hill, the Cheetah. They got Teron Armstead. They got Connor Williams to shore up that left side. So I guess that'd be Josh Allen's right tackle area or Josh Allen's Spencer Brown and right guard area. But yeah, so they completely redid that left side of the offensive line, and they got speed. They also got, what's his name, running back, who requested a trade from the 49ers, Foster?
Raheem Mostert.
Raheem Mostert? Why did I say Foster? I don't really know that. Raheem Mostert. So they got Raheem Mostert. So definitely, I see that this is basically like them trying to replicate what San Francisco has done. I see Tyreek Hill being their Deebo Samuel. I think that what they did was exactly what Brandon Beane did when he traded for a guy like Stephon Diggs. They isolated the variable. You cannot be upset if with your team, or basically what they said is like, all right, Tua, you have no excuses. We fixed the line. We got a good number one, a solid number two. You got a good running game. And not only that, this is a quarterback-friendly system in the Shanahan-type offense. So if you can't produce in this, if you can't produce Jimmy G numbers in this type of offense, that's got to say something. Like, who was the backup that we played against on Monday Night Football against San Francisco like last year? What's his name? Oh, my God.
Was it Nick Mullins?
Yeah, Nick Mullins.
Or CJ Beathard?
No,
I think
Nick
it was Mullins.
Yeah, if you can't, like, if a guy like Nick Mullins can come into that offense and produce, like, Tua, like, buddy, if you can't do that, you're clearly not the guy, in my opinion. And that's exactly how I would have felt if Josh Allen couldn't have produced after we got a guy like Stephon Diggs. Like, what else do you want? Am I wrong here, Justin? Like, the Dolphins have done everything that they need, and the reason why we're talking about this is because the Dolphins have clearly become a contender for the AFC East crown, and I think that ultimately the Bills will pull out on top because I'm a homer, but the gap has definitely gotten smaller between us.
Yeah, I'm glad you kind of made the comparison to what the Bills did, kind of isolating the variable, because I see the situations as very similar, and it really helped Josh Allen out. And personally, I'm not a big fan of Tua. I haven't seen anything that's really overly impressed me, and I think they had some talent around him, but now that, like, there's just an embarrassment of riches. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill with that speed. Yeah, he might not have the strongest arm to push the ball down the field, but the speed that those guys have, you can stretch the field horizontally and work under routes. And Tyreek Hill's and Jalen Waddle are the type of dudes they can hit you with a quick slant and take it the distance. So what I think is really interesting in this situation is that they're still loaded up with draft capital in the next couple of years, and you have a new coach coming in, and he has no ties to Tua. So, yeah, he has the draft pedigree. You know, he was an early first-round pick. So they're kind of giving him every opportunity to succeed. But, I mean, if it doesn't happen this year, there's nothing stopping them from making a quarterback change the following year. And with this being a year where it's not an extremely deep quarterback class, people are talking about the lack of talent there. Maybe they just kind of decide to roll with Tua, maybe a combination of Tua and Teddy, and maybe they reassess that position next year. But with all the improvements that they've made, you're talking a Dolphins team that has been sniffing at the playoffs the last 2 years. And if they even get slightly better quarterback play and with the weapons around Tua right now, they become immediately the number one threat in the AFC East, rather.
Yeah, I don't understand. I won't speak too long about this, but the Dolphins were so close to the playoffs, and I'm taking my Bills hat off here, and I'm just trying to be objective. Like I'm just trying to be fair when I say this. The Dolphins were so close to the playoffs. What? 2 out of the past 3 years, right? And they have no one to blame but themselves. It's pretty much like, it's how I looked at how the Colts lost to the Jags last year, or this most recent season. Like, you were right there, and for whatever reason, you just didn't do it. And that year that they had to beat the Bills backups to get into the playoffs. Now, granted, they were like 3 wild card potential teams that were all 10-plus win teams, one of which was Miami. Like, dude, you were playing the Bills backups, and you still couldn't get it done.
Not only that, got trounced.
Yeah, so I mean, like, no disrespect to them at all, but, and again, I'm just trying to take my fan hat off here, but, like, on paper and theoretically, that makes zero sense why you didn't make the playoffs. Personally, I thought they were going to be there, but they weren't. So I was just like, what the hell's going on? Like, if I'm being honest. All right, Bill's hat going back on. Let's just talk quickly before we get into this break about, and we're done here with the Dolphins. And I like what the Jets did. And the only thing that, what did the Patriots do? They re-signed Trent Brown and traded away Shaq Mason. That's pretty much all that they've done, in my opinion.
Yeah, surprised they've been this quiet this year after the spending spree last year.
Yeah, it's almost like that stuff catches up to you. It's almost like the Bills know exactly what that's like. Yeah, and I think the Jets had a solid offseason too. I'll be honest, I thought if Tyreek went there, I would have been more. I think the ceiling for Tyreek's legacy would have been higher if he went to the Jets, because I really do believe that Wilson is way better than Tua. So
I agree with that.
Yeah. But what do I know? I'm just a podcaster. And that doesn't mean Tua's bad. That just means the ceiling isn't as high as Wilson's.